Hello.
The fluorescent lights hummed softly, casting a sterile glow over the empty hallway. The sound echoed slightly, a low, constant buzz that felt almost like a heartbeat in the otherwise silent building. I pulled my jacket tighter around me, the chill of the air conditioning seeping through the fabric as I made my way toward the exit. It was late, later than I expected. The office was finally quieting down, remnants of the day's chaos fading into the background. As I neared the double doors, I heard hurried footsteps echoing behind me. I turned, a smile automatically gracing my lips as I saw her approaching. Jill, my older colleague. She was in her late 40s, a seasoned strategist with a reputation for her sharp intellect and no-nonsense demeanor. Today, however, there was something different in her approach. The light in her eyes seemed to flicker, an intensity that contrasted starkly with her usual composed exterior. "Hey, Jill," I called out, my voice breaking the silence. "What's up? I was just heading out." "Hold on, Emily," she said, her tone firm yet almost hesitant. "I need to talk to you about something." I felt a chill run down my spine, not from the cold air, but from the weight in her voice. Jill rarely pulled me aside for anything that could be categorized as casual. She stepped closer, the hallway stretching between us like a chasm, and I could see the lines of worry etched on her forehead. "One more thing before you go," she added, her eyes scanning the hallway as if she were concerned about eavesdroppers. With a nod, I gestured for her to continue. "Sure. What's on your mind?" Jill glanced around again, her fingers nervously fidgeting with the cuff of her blouse. "I can't say much here, but I'm worried about the upcoming project pitch. I need you to be careful." "Careful?" I echoed, confusion bubbling up within me. "Jill, we've been prepping for this for weeks. The market analysis, the strategy sessions, everything's in place." "I know," she interrupted, her voice dropping to a whisper. "But there's more at stake than just the pitch. I've heard things. Rumors that some people are looking to undermine our team. I know you're excited, but you need to watch your back." Her words struck me like a cold wave, washing over my previous confidence. Jill was not one to exaggerate. If she was concerned, there was reason for it. "Undermine how? Who's talking about us?" I asked, my heart racing. "Let's just say I've heard whispers from the upper management. They're not happy with the way things have been run lately, and some people are using it as an opportunity to push their own agendas. Just keep your eyes open, okay?" I nodded slowly, trying to absorb the weight of her warning. Jill's protective nature was both comforting and unsettling. I had always admired her, but this was different. It felt like she was reaching out from a place of genuine concern. "I will, I promise. But who should I be watching?" "I can't give you names, Emily. Just trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is." Her eyes bore into mine, and for a moment, I felt the gravity of our situation. "And if you need to talk, come find me. I won't be far." Just then, the elevator doors at the end of the hallway chimed open, breaking the intensity of the moment. I could hear the familiar clatter of shoes as a few of our team members stepped out, their chatter echoing down the hall. Jill's expression shifted, the urgency replaced by a mask of professionalism. "You should go," she said, straightening her posture. "We'll talk later, right?" I said, my mind still reeling. "Thanks for the heads up, Jill. I'll be careful." As I turned to leave, I felt her hand on my arm, a gentle squeeze that held a world of unspoken thoughts. "Just remember, Emily, trust is rare in this business. Don't let anyone take advantage of you." I nodded, the weight of her words settling deep within me. The elevator dinged again, and I turned to see our colleagues heading toward us, laughter spilling into the air like a reprieve from the tension. I stepped back, allowing Jill to slip away into the crowd of colleagues, her expression composed once more. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. I joined the group for a quick drink, the laughter and chatter masking the apprehension growing inside me. I couldn't shake Jill's warning. I replayed our conversation in my mind, analyzing every word, every glance, every nuance. Something felt off, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was. As I settled into bed that night, the shadows danced on the walls, and sleep eluded me. I stared at the ceiling, thoughts racing through my mind. Who could possibly want to undermine our team? And why? The questions swirled around me, refusing to settle. The next morning, I arrived at the office early, determined to keep my head down and focus on my work. I needed to gather as much information as possible and pay attention to the dynamics around me. The atmosphere felt charged, like the quiet before a storm. I could sense the undercurrents of tension among my colleagues, but I pushed those feelings aside, focusing instead on my tasks. The day unfolded normally, with meetings and presentations filling the schedule. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking just beneath the surface. I watched my colleagues closely, searching for signs of discontent or betrayal. Everything felt heightened, every interaction scrutinized. As the clock approached noon, I decided to take a break. I wandered into the break room, and as I poured myself a cup of coffee, I overheard a conversation between two senior executives. I leaned against the counter, pretending to scroll through my phone as I listened. "I don't trust her," one executive said, his voice low but sharp. "She's too ambitious. We need someone who knows how to play the game, not just chase numbers." "Yeah, but she's got potential," the other replied. "If we can harness that energy, it could work in our favor." I felt a chill race down my spine. They were talking about me. I wasn't just a number on a spreadsheet. I was a threat to their status quo. My heart raced as I processed their words. They didn't just want to undermine my project. They wanted to undermine me. I didn't have time to process everything before the break room door swung open, and Jill stepped in. Her gaze immediately found mine, and I could see the recognition in her eyes. She must have sensed the tension in the room, too. "Hey, Jill," I said, forcing a smile despite the unease churning in my stomach. "Emily," she replied, her tone measured. "Can we talk?" I nodded, and we stepped out into the hallway, away from prying eyes. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice low. "I overheard something in the break room," I said, glancing around to ensure no one else was listening. "They're talking about me, about us. They think I'm a threat." Jill's expression hardened. "I knew it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're trying to pit us against each other. We have to be strategic about this." "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart racing. "We need to play the game," she said, her tone shifting to one of determination. "We have to show them we're a united front. If they see us as divided, they'll pick us apart." "What do you suggest?" I felt a surge of adrenaline as I leaned closer, eager to hear her plan. "Let's present our project pitch together. Show them that we're aligned, that we're not just individual contributors but a cohesive team. If we can do that, we'll send a message." I nodded, feeling a sense of resolve building within me. "Okay, let's do it. But we have to be careful. I can't shake the feeling that they're waiting for us to slip." Jill placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We'll be smart about this. We've got each other's backs. That's what matters." As the days turned into a whirlwind of preparation, I found myself spending more time with Jill. Our collaboration became seamless, our ideas blending together in a way that felt almost effortless. We worked late into the night, fueled by coffee and determination. We became a force, a duo that could not be easily dismissed. But the tension in the office continued to rise. Subtle glances and whispered conversations became a constant backdrop as we approached the date of the pitch. I could feel the eyes of others on us, watching every move we made, waiting for us to falter. On the day of the presentation, the conference room was filled with executives, their expressions unreadable as they settled into their seats. Jill and I stood at the front, the slides projected behind us, our hearts racing in unison. "Good morning, everyone," Jill began, her voice steady. "Today, we're excited to present our vision for the upcoming project." I felt a rush of energy as we launched into our pitch, the adrenaline propelling us forward. We played off each other's strengths, highlighting our research and strategy, weaving a narrative that painted a picture of success. The room was silent, the executive's eyes locked on us as we spoke. But as we reached the climax of our presentation, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I glanced to the side and locked eyes with one of the executives, the same one who had voiced doubts in the break room. His expression was inscrutable, but I felt the weight of his scrutiny pressing down on me. Jill must have sensed my unease because she stepped in, seamlessly transitioning to the next point. "We believe that with our combined efforts and expertise, we can drive significant growth and position the company for future success." The room erupted into applause as we concluded, but the praise felt hollow, the tension still palpable. I could see the executives exchanging glances, their expressions shifting. They were still assessing, still calculating. After the presentation, Jill and I stepped out of the conference room, adrenaline still coursing through our veins. "We did it," I said, a smile breaking through my nerves. "Yeah, but we're not out of the woods yet," Jill replied, her tone serious. "We need to stay vigilant. There are still people who want to see us fail." As the days turned into weeks, the aftermath of our presentation played out. We received positive feedback, but behind the scenes, the atmosphere remained tense. Rumors swirled, and the whispers grew louder. I could feel the pressure mounting, the stakes rising higher than ever. One afternoon, as I worked at my desk, I received a message from Jill. "Can we meet? Urgent." My heart raced as I read the words. I quickly gathered my things and made my way to her office. When I arrived, she was pacing, her expression a mix of determination and concern. "Emily, we need to talk," she said, her voice low. "I found out who's been stirring the pot." "Who?" I asked, my pulse quickening. "It's Mark," she said, her voice steady but laced with frustration. "He's been undermining us, spreading doubts about our project. He's trying to turn the executives against us." I felt a surge of anger. Mark had always been competitive, but this felt personal. "What do we do?" "We confront him," Jill replied, her eyes fierce. "We can't let him continue this. We need to show him we're not backing down." I took a deep breath, the weight of her words settling in. "Okay, let's do it." We found Mark in the break room, a smug expression on his face as he chatted with a few colleagues. I felt a knot of anxiety in my stomach as we approached, but I knew we had to address it head-on. "Mark," Jill said, her voice cutting through the chatter. He turned, surprise flashing across his face. "Jill, Emily," he said, feigning innocence. "What's up?" "We need to talk about what you've been saying," Jill said, her tone unwavering. "We know you've been undermining our project, and it needs to stop." Mark's expression shifted, a hint of defensiveness creeping in. "I don't know what you're talking about. Just sharing concerns, you know?" "Concerns," I echoed, my voice rising slightly. "You've been spreading rumors, trying to pit us against each other. We're not going to let you do that," he scoffed, crossing his arms. "You think you're untouchable now, don't you? But people are starting to question your abilities." Jill stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "We've worked hard, and we're not going to let you undermine that. If you have issues, bring them to us directly. But trying to sabotage us won't end well for you." The tension in the room was palpable, the air thick with unspoken threats. Mark's expression hardened, and for a moment, I felt the weight of uncertainty. But Jill stood firm, and I found strength in her resolve. "Fine," he finally said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "Good luck with your little project." As we walked away, I felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with relief. "We did it," I said, glancing at Jill. I can't believe we actually confronted him. Sometimes you have to stand your ground, she replied, her expression softening. And remember, Emily, this is a team. We'll get through this together. In the following weeks, our project continued to gain traction despite Mark's attempts to undermine us. The executives began to see our vision, and the atmosphere in the office slowly shifted. We had established ourselves as a formidable team, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose. As we neared the final stages of the project, I found myself reflecting on everything that had transpired. Jill had become more than just a colleague. She was a mentor, a friend, and a fierce ally. I couldn't help but feel grateful for her guidance during those turbulent times. One afternoon, as we wrapped up a meeting, Jill turned to me, her expression thoughtful. Emily, I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. You've grown so much throughout this process. Thanks, Jill, I replied, a warmth spreading through me. I couldn't have done it without you. She smiled, a genuine expression that lit up her face. Just remember, trust your instincts. You have the potential to go far in this industry. As I left her office that day, I felt a renewed sense of confidence. I knew that the challenges we faced had only strengthened our bond. No matter what lay ahead, I was ready to tackle it head-on, armed with the knowledge that I had the support of someone who believed in me. A few weeks later, as we stood on the brink of launching our project, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the verge of something monumental. The excitement in the air was palpable, and I could see the potential for growth and success. But as I looked around the office, I also knew that the journey was far from over. The corporate world was unpredictable, and I had learned to be wary. I glanced at Jill, who was immersed in a conversation with another colleague, and felt a sense of gratitude wash over me. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I knew I wouldn't have to face them alone. And as I stepped forward into the future, I felt a surge of determination. I was ready to embrace the unknown, armed with the knowledge that trust and collaboration could overcome even the toughest obstacles. In the end, it was more than just a project. It was a testament to resilience, friendship, and the unwavering belief that together, we could weather any storm.
Bye bye.